Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to Turn 2 episode number 24 with your hosts, Frodan and Gnimsh. This week we have a very special guest. It's the DreamHack winner of the summer tournament. It is RDU. What's up guys? RDU, how's it going, man?
Hello, it's going very good for me in the last days, as you can see. But also, I got a lot of hate, so we will speak about it in this show. I hope it
Yeah.
resolves the issues.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that soon, don't worry. But before we go into that, I also want to ask how my co-host Gnimsh is doing. Is it pretty bright in your room or something, buddy?
Oh man, I'm still recovering from that DreamHack experience. It was kind of very exciting, so I can't see really well right now.
From the after party.
Yeah, I guess like the after party was amazing, as the whole tournament.
We missed you, RDU, because you're still 17, so you couldn't come, right? Is that why you didn't show up?
Yeah, I was very tired and I had to go to sleep. I really didn't sleep too much before that in the last night because I had to resend the decks and I
No.
had to
Okay.
think about them. Yeah.
All right. Well, we missed you there, but hopefully there's we next time as well. Okay, so guys, for anybody who's kind of tuning in for the first time and wondering what we do, basically on this show, we're just going to talk about all kinds of things Hearthstone. Today's topics, we're going to cover a lot of DreamHack, as well as the finals controversy. Gnimsh is going to talk about, he's going to ask me questions about being a Tempo Store manager, which was announced also over the weekend. We cover some of the community tournaments, talk about some of the cool things like who's qualified for BlizzCon so far. And we also talk a little bit about the metagame. I think there's a leak of a new hunter card, a new weapon that's a little weird, but maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But either way, it's fun to talk about it, as well as some other community questions. So make sure to send questions to either me, Gnimsh, or Ardu on Twitter, or even in the chat for the Twitch. We'll be able to hit them up at the end of the show. So to start things off, let's talk a little bit about DreamHack. And let's first start on a high note. So what I'm going to ask the first question is, what were some of your favorite moments or some of the highlights from DreamHack? RDU, it probably goes without saying that what your favorite moment is, but if you can kind of take a step back and talk about what were some of the best moments for you, aside from winning the whole thing.
Well, I need to think about this. Like, I had a lot of great games at DreamHack. I was very lucky in most of the games, like versus Reynad or versus Hiccup, but I think the best play was the risk play versus Reynad, where I just YOLO'd the Leroy Jenkins and then concealed it, and I needed like either 5 damage, that's only Shadow Step, or the Gadgetan Auctioneer, so I can prep and draw into other cards. So I was lucky and drew the Shadow Step and won that game.
That seemed to be like the closest moment because you were showing a lot of emotion on your face. You know, your eyes were getting really big, and your hands were starting to go to your face and everything. But it seemed like you were staying calm until that moment. But overall, it was a really fun series. Is that in your opinion the hardest series that you had to face throughout the 6 or 7 series you played?
Yeah, that with Reynad, I was very lucky in all the games, and also with Ekup, but with Ekup he was unlucky, so it's kind of the same thing.
Actually,
But yeah,
I want to actually ask you about that because I know that Reynad, even right before the series, was kind of thinking about which deck you'd start, and you started off with Shaman, and that was a deck that people haven't really seen you play much because it seemed like you were playing Miracle and Mage a lot through the group stage and whatnot. So, what was your thought process going into that the deck selection before the series began for that semifinal?
well, the tough process was kind of difficult. I knew that Reynad switched the decks to Warrior, then Warrior Hunter and Druid, if I'm not wrong. So all 3 decks kind of beat Mage, so I couldn't start with Mage. That was the start. And I knew he expected me to start with Miracle, so that's why I uh, thought that the Warrior is Rush and he will start with it just to counter my Miracle. So my last deck was Shaman, so I had to start with it. I was pretty much forced. Shaman usually does better versus Rush Warrior than it did in that game, and Miracle usually does worse than it did in that game. But yeah.
All right, cool. So that was a little breakdown of RDU's experience. We obviously have another important person on the show because he also had a top 8 finish. Gnimsh, how was your DreamHack experience, man? Tell me some of the highlights.
Well, actually, Frodan, before I talk about my experiences, we heard RDU talking about his experiences, and I think like a lot of viewers are actually oblivious who RDU is because RDU was not that known before. Like we know RDU because he's our friend, and we like met him in Bucharest. But he was kind of like a black horse of the tournament, and you didn't even have a team listed on the seed list, where we
Oh,
previously
that's
know.
true.
Yeah, and we thought that you're actually on a team next, please. So, are you? Can you actually tell us more about yourself? Like, who are you? Who's your practice partner? Like, where are you
Yeah,
playing, and what are your achievements?
yeah, sure. So, what should I start with? The team? Like, I had
Okay,
a
start.
team.
You can start
Yeah.
with the team.
Okay, so I had a team before like DreamHack Summer. I was in next place for a lot of time, but they just didn't want. I don't think they wanted to risk to pay me the trip until DreamHack because they didn't expect me to win anything at there, and they thought it's just waste money. So I just quit the team. I had no reason to play for them if they don't want to pay the trip. And yeah, I just went there as teamless, and Daniel did the same thing. Daniel was also in that team.
Oh, so this is
Yeah.
kind of like an announcement because you're in a team, but now you're officially teamless. So if there is
Yeah.
a team that wants you to pick the DreamHack winner, you're free for the taking, right?
Yeah, I was free for
Also
taking
number
before
one, and
DreamHack.
also number
Number
one in the
one
Ghost
world,
Recon
yes,
first player rankings.
yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So yeah,
So
I'm teamless.
are you getting any offers already, or like?
Yeah, a lot of offers, but I need to consider. I need to wait like 1 week and then consider and pick the best offer.
Yeah, man, take your time.
Yeah,
We can talk about that stuff in a little bit. But I kind of want to continue talking about what's gonna what the finals and stuff in just a second. But before we do that, Gnimsh, talk to me about some of your DreamHack experience. Thanks for centering the conversation, by the way, and introducing it. But we
Yeah,
also
no
want to
problem.
talk a little bit about your experiences too.
I was really curious. Okay, so my experience is actually not connected to a specific game. Like my highlight of the event was talking to the community and meeting the community. So those events always give you an opportunity to meet the old friends and also meet a lot of new friends. So hanging out with people, watching the games, playing the games, and having people root for me and rooting for other people to do good in the tournament. That was definitely the highlight of my experience from the whole event, and it was pretty amazing.
What was your the best moment for you though? Because it seemed like you were having a lot of fun, whether it was hanging out with some of the players or even having like a really intense series with the Moz, which came down to the last card. Just talk to me about some of like the best moments for you.
Like from the games specifically.
Just from the weekend. Like if you had to pick one moment that was like like your defining moment of the weekend.
That's a tough question. I mean, definitely I will remember the game versus Hamas where I put that SI7 and this allowed Hamas to finish the game with his top deck clearer. So this will haunt me for sure. Like I will forever analyze this game in my head if I should actually put that SI7 there or not. So that's something that I will remember. Not exactly as something very positive, but definitely I will remember that. Other than that, the highlight would be the game versus Kaldi, I guess, where I thought I had the worst hand in the world with my druid, and I had like 2 or 3 cards, and apparently he had 5 or 6, and his hand was even worse. Like I would never imagine that was possible. I haven't seen the VOD yet, but I will have to review it and see like what was happening that game.
What's it like being on the other side of the top decks, huh, Nimsh? Doesn't feel too good, I imagine.
Um, it's
I'm
it's
just I'm
weird.
just making a chain, man.
Yeah, no, it is. But honestly, I was thinking at that moment, like, hey, maybe I should review my behavior. Like, I mean, I'm top decking a lot, and I'm finishing because like I'm having those high risk, high reward strategies. So my opponents sometimes feel like he just got really lucky with that win. So it's tough, man. It's tough, and like the player that's actually getting that's the top deck and winning the game has to be really delicate not to damage his opponent. Like Amaz was great actually. Like Amaz will talk to me and he said he's sorry, which is obviously not his fault. Like he played his best game and he got this card, which was completely fair. But on the other hand, like you always have this opponent sitting there and with Dream Crush because you really think that you're winning and you just like need one more turn, and then there is this top deck and you're suddenly you're just a loser. Like there is the tournament is done for you. So for all those people who are playing the games, always thing about your opponents. Like they might suffer. It's hard to lose. Be gentle for them.
Okay. It
Yeah.
is. I think it's pretty nerve wracking. This is your second major offline experience. DreamHack Bucharest was your first. Do you feel like nerves really play an issue for you, or even just players in general, especially on a smaller stage like this, compared to like the big stage of like DreamHack Bucharest? That was in front of like a couple hundred people.
Well, actually, it's the third offline tournament. We had the Eastern European Comic Con held here in Bucharest, and they had the big Hearthstone tournament with like two qualifiers, each with 200 people,
Okay.
where I went 2-0 to 0 and in all the games, and then faced Daniel in the final at the LAN event. So and I won that. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
this is your
yeah. This
second big
experience,
offline victory?
yeah, this is my second big offline victory, and it was great. It felt very good, and it there were so many people there. All the atmosphere with people sleeping on the keyboards. It was awesome. I never saw that in my life. It was
The
just perfect.
experience, and this kind of just goes into a little bit of the things of DreamHack in itself, but the experience of being in front of the Dream Extreme Arena, for anybody who couldn't really see too much of the stream, the semifinals and the final were moved into a completely separate arena and a stage than it was in the previous rounds, in front of, I think, like a solid 300 people, maybe even more, I don't even know. Um, how was the actual setup for you playing on iPads and kind of like a really big stage, and like at the same time you're used to kind of seeing your opponent face to face, but you were like halfway across the stage from Reynad and Maz. Like, does that kind of is that a good setup in your opinion of this kind of event of this magnitude?
Well, it was decent. They just wanted, I think, to try out to see how it works out. At first, I was very nervous. You can ask Gnimsh too, because I thought that somebody will misclick something and then, yeah, lose
Yeah,
the
but
game because of that.
you're mostly nervous actually. Like um, it's amazing that this was your third LAN event, and like the first time you were fourth, second one you won, and this is the third one and you won again, and you are having so much emotions. Like you're when looking at your face when you're playing, like you can see when you're happy, when you're sad, but still like you drive those emotions and they help you survive, I
Yeah.
guess, right?
Yeah, sometimes I just bluff my opponent, but usually, yeah, usually I show my emotions, I think too much, but mm, I'm used to playing at home. Yeah, I have to hide my emotions better the next time.
And what do you think about like studying the emotions of your opponent? Because we talked about it at DreamHack about Kaldi. Kaldi was studying his opponents all the time, like looking at his opponents and with like a very cool poker face and just studying them. What do you think about it?
I think that he was just staring down his opponents and not really studying them. But yeah, that's a strategy. Obviously, you have to use everything you can in this game to, yeah, to get an advantage. Like
Actually,
even
that
studying your opponent's face.
yeah, that actually brings up a really interesting segue into something I wanted to kind of ask. Now that DreamHack's over, what do you think of the actual format of like the seeded and invite players? Because none of the open versus seeded in the BYOC, because there's a lot of players that fought through what 80 or 90 players, and that was pretty exhausting. It took like 9 to 12 hours of playing for some of them. And then the next day they have to kind of come in pretty early and play their matches and whatnot to qualify. Taking a look back, what do you think about this BYOC? Do you think DreamHack can get away with a format like this next time, where they needed to improve? Let's talk a little bit about this format now that it's over. Let's start with you, Nimsh.
Okay, so like it was very interesting because in the beginning we thought that the tournament will have 256 players, mostly because that was the number of the places. And in Darkmonth and Bucharest, all the places I think were set. Like all the people came, so or maybe like 5 or 10 were missing. So here I was expecting to have 250 people at least playing. But what happened is like we had only 80 or 90. Or only
Yeah,
it was still a lot of people, but well, it's weird. I mean, the thing is, like, we ensured that the top 16 had the top-notch players. Also, the players who advanced from the BYOC were also top-notch players. So thanks to this, we ensured the views, and we had really exciting matches at the top level. But who would say that we wouldn't have them if there would be no seeded players? Like, if you have a good format that actually tests skills and gives the top players a chance to actually go through the field without being super unlucky, then you will always have like 12 pro players in top 16 and 4 people who are might have been just lucky, or like they are just not known. They are pretty good but just not known. So I personally prefer Swiss, and I'm still not sure about seeding, if it's good or not. It's definitely good for marketing, but I'm not sure if this is very good for the game. But on the other hand, if marketing is good for the game, that's good for the game.
Okay. Artie, what do you think about the format now that it's over?
Yeah, I think Swiss is the best format, and they should play Swiss best of 3 in the next DreamHack. That's what I think. But also, being seeded feels really good. It's the first tournament where I was seeded. I think because of the win at the 2P tournament and top 4 at DreamHack and the win at the other LAN event in Romania. Maybe that's why I got seeded. So I was very happy.
And your win at this summer event means that you're seeded directly into, is the next DreamHack tournament, or is it like DreamHack Winter? Because compared to like Bucharest, Gara was immediately seeded into summer. Did they tell you what your win meant in terms of the next tournament?
Nope. I don't think
Okay.
I don't think they even know. Like, they thought about making Swiss. They told us that the next tournament will be better without any mistake, and I think they want to make Swiss.
I think I can add something to this. Definitely, the organizers of DreamHack and Blizzard is accepting feedback from people. So this tournament was interesting because there were a couple of bumps in the road. The overall experience, I think, was great, and my personal experience was fantastic. But obviously, there were some hiccups, and they can be fixed. So they will be listening to feedback. I was talking to the organizers, and they will be talking to the famous players about different format possibilities. The thing is, like, all the players have good ideas, and they want some ideas to be introduced in tournaments, but there are always some technical limitations and budget limitations. So the way for the future will be to have the discussion between the players and the organizers and find a golden middle, where like the golden solution, where we can have like a great tournament that everybody will be happy with, and which is within those constraints that life actually puts on us.
Yeah, DreamHack is actually going to try to, and Via Game too. They were really like open to feedback all throughout the weekend, and they did a lot of stuff on the fly that a lot of the players requested. For example, the deck resubmission was something the players requested, and we'll talk a little bit about that too later, especially for RDU who got an opportunity to resubmit decks. So before we do that, though, I kind of want to touch a little bit more on the BYC before we put that to rest, and some of these unknown players like Dan Dito, who I think Artosis hyped up after watching his match to be like the favorite, or maybe it was Admirable, I don't remember. But they're like, oh man, this guy is so good, he's probably going to win the whole tournament. And that was just kind of the caster's job to kind of like give these stories to the players and get people excited about it. But taking a look at the 4 players that advanced from them, we had a couple guys that people probably didn't know much. Frezar, people said that he was like a really high-ranked ladder player, but other than that, no notoriety. Nabute has always been like a pretty decent player. I've heard from other pros, but we don't see him too much. Artie, what did you know about these open players? And do you think like they were really deserving of going through the BYOC?
Yeah, I knew like 3 out of 4. I didn't know Fraser, but I knew he was #1 on the ladder, so that means a lot. But yeah, he lost because probably he was very tired. I don't know. But yeah, all the 4 players were very good because it's not so easy to pass through that many opponents and be bad or just lucky.
Gnimsh, what do you think?
Well, I actually have a lot to add because those 4 players qualified for the televised section of the tournament, but the tournament was really stacked. Like getting a couple of rounds back, there was like there was Xixo, who was consistently a top legend player. Lothar, Forsen, KitKats, all those players, and Ostkaka. Like there were a lot of players who actually went very deep in the tournament, but in the final stage they got eliminated by those four you mentioned. So they advanced as the top four, but like the whole tournament had really a large number of pro players who were fighting together. So definitely, as Radu mentioned, those guys went through hell on Saturday and Sunday. The pressure, the emotions, they went through hell, and they were. I'm sure they were exhausted, like mentally and physically. I know Kaldi wasn't sleeping very good. I mean, he was sleeping on the keyboard, like he was testing all the time. So that definitely had some impact on their play. I mean, I didn't notice any mistakes, but it's like it's different to just rest on Saturday, watch your friends play games, than like play all the time for and being in a life and death situation. So really kudos to those players who actually advanced, and I'm happy that Freezer advanced to the top 8. And yeah,
do you know him personally?
What's up?
Do you know him personally or something? Well, why are you
No,
happy?
I'm just happy that some. Like,
why not
I'm happy
KitKats or Sixo or Lothar or Force and all your other friends?
Oh man, I'm sad that I didn't advance. Like I'm happy that one person at least advanced to top 8 from those 4 players, because if they would be stopped at that point by the seeded players, I would feel bad about it. So Freezer got it, and kudos to him. But yeah, I mean, like being a seeded player and playing against those BYSC players in Group C. I didn't underestimate them. Like I knew that those players will be actually very good players coming into that group, and well, I was afraid, and I also I didn't know who will make it, so it was hard to prepare for those exact people.
Yeah, definitely, and I think just like Gnimsh said, you can't really undervalue the performance of BYOC, but it's kind of unfortunate that top 16 in DreamHack means the same whether or not you're tied at a time or 7 each and you lost your first 2 series, or if you went through BYOC and you lose in the group stages, but your overall record in DreamHack is actually pretty high. Like you went 7-1 or 8-2. Like that kind of record is still really impressive. So quick shout outs to Lothar and KitKats who fell just short, and even a couple rounds before that, like Aeroth, Sixo, they all got pretty far. And hopefully DreamHack can continue to improve it. Actually, we talked to some of the admins shortly afterwards, and they really are hoping to do Swiss, just like RDU mentioned. And maybe that can be the start of something. But I think they were talking about that for DreamHack Winter, because we don't know if DreamHack is actually going to do a tournament for their upcoming satellite events like DreamHack Valencia or DreamHack Moscow.
Valencia is actually pretty tricky. Yeah. Valencia is tricky because Valencia is at the same tournament as the big Dota tournament, the international tournament, right?
Yes, as well as the IEM tournament. There's 3 events going on that weekend, but there's really only one tournament going on that weekend, right? Because everyone's gonna be watching TI4. I'm gonna be watching TI4, even if I'm at a DreamHack or at IEM. I'll probably be watching it somehow because it's just too much money. It's $10 million. I know RDU, you won 10K. We're happy for you, but dude, some team is about to win $5-6 million. It's bananas.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
All right, so now that we kind of got a little bit of the formalities of DreamHack out of the way, let's kind of address what everyone's been lighting up the internet over the past 36 hours or so. Let's talk a little bit about the PM drama that happened in the finals between RDU and Amaz. Before we do that, let's talk a little bit, or Gnimsh, explain to me what happened exactly with that finals controversy.
What do you mean, like the finals for?
Just give us a little background, because I feel like I'm talking.
For the whole top 8, or like?
No. For the controversy of the finals, what happened?
Oh, okay. Exactly? I will give you the rundown. Sorry, because you're hard to hear sometimes. We have some technical issues.
Oh, my bad. Okay,
no problem though. So the drama, right? The drama and everything that happened around it. Okay, so it's tough to talk about it because we were focused on the final. RDU was in the final versus Amaz. Both great players, had great series. um, playing, and it was live, and all the other games were live as well, like with like a lot of players watching at home at viagame.com, and a lot of players watching it live, and suddenly RDU is starting to get some messages, which are pretty neutral. And well, we have a lot of guys in our friend lists. Like I always have too much. I have 99. I can add even more people, and some of them are just like people who I met at the random tournaments. So it's hard to be responsible for them. And so RDU is just getting messages like "Hi mom," which is standard thing. Like, "Hey, I'm in the television. Hi mom. What? Like, look at me. I'm famous. Like my 5 minutes of fame." And unfortunately, at some point, someone from Ariu's list is telling him in Romanian what are the cards in Amaz's hand. And at that moment, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, this is live. This can happen. Somebody can be, well, weird enough to actually follow on that," which is very sad because RDU was really focused on the game, and I was there. I was looking at your face, man, and like you were disgusted at the same
Yeah.
time. You were disgusted, and you were like afraid, and like you didn't know what to do.
He was on
And
important turns too. Like people are like, "Oh, he should have deleted the guy immediately," but it's like I think there were pretty crucial turns where he didn't actually have the
Yeah,
luxury of deleting all those friends.
I wanted to call the admin at start, but at the exact moment that happened, but I had only one more turn to end the game, and I called them immediately after the game ended. But I was still shocked that somebody would tell me that shit. I didn't need that to win. Like, yeah, it was pretty much retarded. What, I don't know what it was in his mind.
it could happen to anybody because like we don't control
Yeah,
those people. Um, So and the weird thing is like it put more pressure on you. Like even if the guy wanted to help you at some point, which is obviously stupid, but like
yeah,
it put more pressure because you were on a big stage, you were obviously stressed and pressured, and suddenly something like this happens live. You have to call the admin, you have to explain the situation, and they ask you to delete the friends from your friend list, and you were actually doing it during your turns, like limiting the time you had during some turns to make a decision even. So, well, it was very unfortunate, but like it was a lesson for all of us, like for tournament organizers, for the players, that well maybe before Blizzard actually introduces a D&D mode, or like giving players like clean accounts for the tournaments, maybe we should go into the tournaments deleting all the friends from our friend list, because even if we trust people, we can't trust all of them, and those tournaments are just too important to, you know, to be in that situation.
So, RDU, before we go any further, talk to us a little bit from your perspective on like what were the admins talking to you about once the situation happened? Because people saw what happened. You got the messages. You called the admins over after the game. There's like a 10-15 minute break. Like, what was going on your end?
they didn't tell me anything. Like, I wasn't told then. I was just told to keep the headset on, and then they just told me to continue the game. Yeah, I realized the demo just after the whole set. So they weren't communicating with us. Like, I knew what happened, but Amas didn't
Really?
knew. But they didn't contacted us to keep us, tell us what happens, like what they
Wow.
decide.
Yeah, and I think I heard. Okay, so I was actually really mad during the entire thing, the entire process. Gnimsh knows because he was sitting a few seats away from me. And then I got really mad later on when I heard that the DreamHack admins didn't even talk to the players or inform them what was going on. Like Amaz actually didn't know about the whole thing until the finals was over. He just thought like there was a technical issue and they needed to take a break for 20 minutes. That was essentially what happened. And that kind of grinds my gears a little bit because DreamHack has been running tournaments for a long time, and the administrative team should know better than that in almost every perspective. Because if something ever happened in other games, like say if RDU disconnected from the game, or if something happened where it was dramatic and like they out of control and the game had to shut down for some reason, you always try to have to keep the players in the loop because the opponent usually has at least the notification, maybe even a say, right? It happened in Tavern Takeover, for example, with Trump versus Ekop. Ekop disconnected. Trump took the free win. And usually there's some rulings like that, but there was just nothing in that regard, no respect to the player, and I felt like the whole handling of the situation was pretty poor from an administrative point of view. I don't know. Am I wrong, Gnimsh? Tell me I'm
Um,
wrong.
I'm not sure if you're really wrong. Like, I have a different perspective because, like, you're coming from the esports background, and I'm coming from the card game background, and on the card game tournaments where two people are playing, there is always audience, and obviously the game is being held live, and audience can see both players' hands. And I haven't noticed, like, I've never been a witness of a situation where someone for the audience just shouts out, "Hey, he has pyroblast in his hand. You better heal now." Because all the players being there
Yeah.
are like players. So if somebody did that, they are instantly banned from all the tournaments in the future.
Hmm.
Um, but people try to cheat, like they try to communicate during this time. So definitely we'll have to look to the future, like how to avoid it, but how to handle it. It's like, well, I don't know, man. Like being a Maz, he was not aware about the situation. Maybe it was good for him because, from his perspective, nothing changed. He just finished his game and then took his priest deck. He was not distressed. Like he was just playing his A game in the final. He was trying to win. Like maybe letting him know that, hey, there was a situation, but we are still continue. Like you were really disadvantaged, but we are still continuing, would influence his last game, which was actually amazing when he was playing priest versus mage. He was almost able to win that game. So it's very tough. Like, and also being in an admin shoes, I think I'm sure they communicated with the casters and the host as well. So they analyzed the situation. We were pretty lucky that the situation was really not influencing the game that much. Like some people argue that
Oh, yeah.
you could play Alex Straza to actually heal yourself, but it's not like this deck works. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's actually let's take this opportunity for RDU to kind of talk about that because a lot of people are saying like, oh, RDU was probably going to Alex Straza himself or whatnot because
No.
he knew that he's not having flare. Talk a little bit about that exact moment and what you were thinking at that time.
Well, yeah, sure. So they told us that when we play on the big stage on the stream, we have to wait like 2 seconds before we make our play. So I only had one play in my mind, Alex Straza himself, him, not myself. Because if I Straza myself, I just don't have the enough damage to kill him. So it
yeah, it's
was
just loot.
just it was just stupid to Alex Straza myself. So I had to Alex Straza him, even if he had flare. I just had to take that risk. So that when I saw the message from that guy, I was just shocked. But I just played Alexstrasza. I was ready to play Alexstrasza. I played her, and almost in the same time, I don't really know the timing, I saw the message. I didn't read it at first. I read it after I played Alexstrasza. I can swear that. I can go to the lie detector if they don't believe me. So, but uh, because I was so spammed all the game, I just wanted to call that means. I even told to some players that spammed me, please stop typing. I don't know if that appeared on stream. I think it did for like
It
one
did. It
second.
did.
I typed like 3 players or something like that to stop. I really wanted them to stop because I couldn't focus. I couldn't concentrate. They were so annoying. They were saying a lot of stuff, but never cards. Just the last one said. But in rest, there were random stuff like, yeah, good luck and all other stuff. But I think that the DreamHack crew analyzed the videos and they didn't find any code, so I didn't even think about that thing. I just saw it at the hotel when I went back and I was like, wow, what are these people thinking? Secret codes? It's really
It-
strange.
it's kind of funny because like I funny and sad at the same time because well the format that we had with being live and people watching it actually allowed a lot of people to cheat and but we didn't notice it or it didn't happen and it had to happen in the final, so it's kind of sad that way, but it's kind of happy, funny actually that people didn't do it during the games. Like we would probably notice before because most of the games were streamed. Like people were watching the screens because you could watch the screens of the players just standing near them. Um, so this tournament took a lot of hours, and people kept cool about it. Like they didn't really destroy it. Like our friends didn't destroy it. That this this one example being unfortunate in the final, but on the other hand, giving us an opportunity to actually counter it in the future.
Yeah.
Artie, who's Pufulet? Do you know him at all personally?
Uh, no, it's a player that I played at that LAN offline tournament that I was talking, that the Eastern European Comic Con. And before me, I think he also played with Daniel, and he was like, Daniel told me that he stayed like 5 minutes per turn because there was no rope, and he was that kind of disgusting player that would always annoy his
Wow.
opponents. I don't know what was in my mind to odd all the people and don't remove them after the tournament. It's the biggest mistake I ever made. Now I won't add anyone that I know that I don't know in real life, or that I don't know he's a pro, because I can't risk it anymore. I just
Hmm.
kept him after the tournament, and then he appeared out of nowhere and did that bad thing. That,
But
yeah.
you know some of the other players that were sending you these coded messages, right? Quote unquote. I'm not accusing you. I'm just like I feel like I
Yeah.
recognize some of those names too. Like was it Logic
Tyson
or
L.
who?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
knew some
yeah.
of the players. Like some of them were even high ranked players. Like somebody was number one on ladder, like earlier with 3 days ago before the tournament. They were respected players and stuff. Some of them, I mean, the messages that you saw aren't all. I received a lot of messages during that game, and it was so stressful. But I'm sure the DreamHack will revise and revise the videos to see that there is no code, because I was just bombarded with messages.
Mhm.
I don't think they're,
Um,
yeah.
were you receiving messages prior to this match at all?
Uh, just good luck, but yeah,
Well, I
I
meant
think
like
just
in other games, like say your round of 8 or your round of 6. I think you played a match even off screen on round of 16, which doesn't even make sense. By the way, someone's like, "Oh, this could have been happening off stream." I'm like, "Well, guys, no one's able to message them if they don't see the stream." They're like trying to make that logical connection. Someone have to
yeah.
actually be watching over their shoulder, messaging them. But did this problem appear beforehand? And if so, did you let any admins know that this was happening, or was it just kind of not an issue?
Well, I only got good luck messages like all the players did, and I think I saw like other players receiving messages in game too, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think it's a code. It's a code or something. And I think I received some messages in the game with Reina too, because I think that only in the last 2 games there were a lot of viewers, and everybody in
That's
my
right.
friend list, even if they weren't online for like 3 months or something, they just wanted to say something on the stream and appear. I don't know. It's
It's kind of natural for people because like well, we are playing on those stages. Like we are the pro players, and we are there. This is natural for us. Like it wasn't the first tournament, it wasn't the last tournament. We will be there, but all those people, like our friends, they don't have this opportunity. So they want some part. They want to be the part of the experience. Like they're our friends after all. So they just want to be with us at that moment. So when they message us during the game saying good luck, like appearing on stream, they feel like, hey, I'm giving him support, and on the other hand, I'm part of this big event. So it's kind of like a human thing to do. Um,
yup.
Unfortunately, it can backfire as it did, but overall, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
kind of wrote something. Go ahead, Artie. Go ahead.
I saw on Reddit that people saw that the messages I received in other games were like 3 turns after or something like that, and they realized that there is no code. So I think the code thing is over. Now the only thing that is still arguable is the thing that I received Amos's hand, like one card from his hand.
Hmm.
people love drama. People always love drama. They will love drama. They are living
But
off
this is like
drama.
this is not just drama though. This is like actual real tampering, and it's not whether or not it's intentional. I mean, people kind of already gravitated away from it. Just like Artie you said, I think now it's not an issue of intentional versus unintentional. It's more like what should DreamHack have done here? Should they have regamed? Should they have completely like zero tolerance and smack down RDU and take out a SWAT team, toss in a smoke grenade and beat him down with shields and drag him out by his ankles? I don't think so, but some people are calling for that, and I don't know, like, where do we go from here? Should tournaments say no chat policy? Like, assuming Blizzard can't do anything, because let's be realistic here. Blizzard was there in the audience watching. They were there and they acknowledged the problem happened, but say they can't actually do anything and implement any UI features. Should tournaments have a zero tolerance policy for that? Like remove friends before the tournament starts? Is there kind of like leeway? Because now the idea is there. Players realize, oh my God, there could be ways to do this. If someone just says, we're cheering for you, that could mean something. It's not necessarily in the past, but looking to the future. How should tournaments approach this? I'm taking more of a zero tolerance approach, but I'll talk about them in a second. RDU, you're the victim, as some people are
Yeah.
pointing it here. What do you think? How should tournaments approach this from now on?
Well, if they had in the rules that I had to have no friends in the tournament, it would be okay for me. This whole drama would have been avoided. But they didn't state that in the rules. I didn't think anyone was that stupid to message me the cards thinking he helps or he makes a good joke or whatever he thought of. I don't know. I think he just wanted to attention. He just wanted attention, or he just wanted to sabotage me. I don't know. I can't run. I can't know. So yeah, but in the future tournaments, they should make like rules to avoid all of this. Like if there is no system from Blizzard, they should just make us remove all the list and add it again later. It's not so hard.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. I agree on that. Actually, like, because it was not in the rules, we somehow like didn't see it before. The thing that DreamHack accrued was a judgment call. It's always hard to make a judgment call in this situation, and I'm sure that even if they would reset the match, like if you would have to play it, I mean reset the game, like not even give you a game loss, but like force you to play Mage versus Hunter again, there will be a lot of people opposing that as well. So if you have this like 50-50 situation, somebody makes a judgment call, and well, some people oppose it, some people agree. But going into the future, I'm sure that we will have to set a rule that either you have no friends and you're forced to remove all the friends. Well, come on, Frodan, we are playing
It's just
for
so
money.
backward. It's just,
If,
I know it is. It's just so backwards.
I mean, if you have
Tedious.
money, okay.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just, I don't know. It feels like such an unnecessary, burdensome task. But I do agree. Like, I think there needs to be a zero tolerance policy in the future. If that happens, you forfeit the game. If it happens twice, you're DQ'd essentially. Well, and if you're playing best of three, that's what happens. Some people even can go a line further and just kind of kick them out. Artie, I kind of want to ask you a pretty hard question, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
If they if they let the players decide what would happen from that point on, say they came to you in a Moz and said, it's your decision what to do, would you have said regame, or would you have just kind of pushed for a continuation? Do you feel like, because I know people are saying that it's like a sportsmanship thing, but if a Moz wanted a regame, would you have been okay with it?
If Amaz wanted that, I would have been okay with it. I think that I could have won again, but it was hard. So, but I think I would have accepted every game because, and then, but before the regame, I would delete all my friend list and just to play like that. And I think I had real chances of still winning the tournament even with the regame.
I have a follow-up question to that because you feel very relaxed about it, and I feel you really wanted to win fair and square. Were you?
Yeah.
And I mentioned money before, so were you even thinking about the money? Because like a lot of people are distressed because you were playing for $5,000. Like it was win or lose. $5,000 is a lot of money, especially in your age, I believe. So I think like you weren't thinking about it, right? You were just focused on the game.
Yeah, I didn't really care about that money so much. I mean, after I won the event, I was happy for a little bit, and then when I saw the Reddit and all the people thinking that I cheat, I just wanted my reputation back or something like that, and I didn't really care about that money that much because in the end, the reputation means all anything. For example, I topped for a DreamHack. I won the 2P. I had a lot of accomplishments. Why would I try to cheat in such a bad way? I mean, there were 10,000 ways better than to cheat than that. And that wasn't even cheating. That was a guy just trying to sabotage me. And yeah,
Wait, you know 10,000 better ways to cheat? We might have
No,
to talk about the episode.
it's just something
Well,
like
there is. There's cell phones, for example. This was something that Reels actually brought up. I'm about to expose a little bit of what happened behind the scenes, by the way. So I hope some people aren't gonna go crazy over this. They probably will. Let's be real. Um, Reels was telling me that they were forcing people to kind of play music sometimes, like in the headphones and whatnot. And so what he did was he plugged his headphones into his cell phone and listened to music. And in the middle of one of the series, for example, he got like some messages and stuff like that, and some beeps that were just like really annoying because he couldn't actually he doesn't want to he doesn't want to do anything suspicious and reach in his pocket and like change anything. So he just had to like let the alarm or whatever like finish. But that brings up like another case. Like if tournaments aren't really careful about things like cell phones, like in a game where information is like
Live
paramount to
yeah.
it's paramount to the entire outcome and line you choose. Like these kinds of things need to be cracked down upon. Every single thing, even like facing the audience, can be like a big factor. In some games where split-second decision making, that probably won't matter as much because like StarCraft, for example, you can't really look at the crowd and then take your eyes off the screen because then you're going to lose so much efficiency. But Hearthstone, you do have the time to do that. So there's a lot of suggestions like make the players face the wall, make sure to scan them, like basically go TSA on their butts, take everything away from them that they can possibly do. Is this the kind of thing that needs to happen from this point on? I mean, it's pretty strict and militant, but I think it kind of has to happen, don't you think?
Man, it's actually pretty tough because well, with this card pool, there's a lot of things that we can actually think about. Like um, let's say like we agree before the tournament. Like this is actually a way to cheat. Don't do it. Don't do it at home. But like we agree that if I happen to play against Miracle Rogue and if my opponent has a Leroy, you message me, and I have a phone in my pocket, and it will vibrate. So it's like if somebody messages me before, like I'm probably in a bad spot. But like this is a message that hey, there is a Leroy in his hand. And this would mean that the people entering, like players, couldn't have cell phones with them or like any other stuff. We could actually have to search them before they enter the tournaments. So maybe it might maybe a solution, and it all happens like it's all passable because the games are live. So maybe we should have a delay, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah, at the very least, that's another great point. Why was there not at least a stream delay of some kind? I mean, I know Via Game was having some technical issues, and to be fair, I talked to Anna, who was kind of monitoring a lot of the process. She said that one of the equipment trucks just like didn't show up, so they had to kind of use like half the stuff that they wanted to, and it was kind of a miracle it was able to get up and running. So that in itself is something that people don't know because Via Game won't ever go out and say, hey, we weren't able to get up. But this is what I heard. And that said, I feel like they have so many things they need to fix, all these little small things. But it really bothered me, like not only this lack of security where they need to go full casino type security on these players because card games are affected like this. But they also need to fix like best of threes, which don't work in my opinions, especially if you're playing like it has to be best of fives, especially like in the semifinals. It just changes the entire dynamic because then everyone plays Druid no matter what, and because like Druid is just so important for best of three. Like it's just kind of like ridiculous.
You can add some light, share some light. Why best of three actually doesn't work in Hearthstone? I mean, it works somehow, but like it's not the best format for a high level tournament play. Basically, the player who wins has has a great advantage because if you win first game with a deck A, then your opponent will take a counter and win against you, and then the final game, which decides the match, you take the counter to his deck. So you have 70% to win the match because you won the first game, and that's why best of three is really tough, and best of five is better because in best of five you have more of a back and forth. You can have a better percentage at times, so it's less luck dependent. Best of three is really tough. Best of one is even worse.
Yeah, no tournament would sensibly run best of ones, right? Artie, what do you think about best of threes? Like, do you think it's okay in some scenarios, or how do you want to follow up on that point?
Well, best of three is only okay if they are playing Swiss. If not, best of five is the best. That's my opinion, and best of one is like the worst. But best of three is okay if you are playing Swiss. If not, just best of five is the best, or even best of seven. if
I
it's
agree.
needed.
It's actually a nice remark because in Swiss, you have at least like 6, 7 rounds of the tournament. So the overall curve of chance is being flattened, and the top player will come at the top after 7 rounds of best of three. Even if you get unlucky, sometimes you'll at least do a 5-2 during the tournament. So I agree with RDU there.
Okay, so we've been talking about this topic for about 20, 25 minutes already. So let's kind of move on so we can talk about some of the other stuff. But I want to kind of get final thoughts on all of DreamHack and include the controversy. And I guess I'm going to go to Gnimsh first before I go to RDU.
You want me to summarize everything from my
No, no,
perspective?
no. Give me your final thoughts on, just give me like a conclusion um, on,
Okay, I wanted
post.
kind of to talk about the casters as well because we had a really nice setup.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so like this was the first tournament that we had all of the Hearthstone casting stars at one place. I mean, we were lacking Frodan, I guess. So Frodan was not there.
Good save, buddy.
Well, dude, you should be there. Like you were the only person that was. I mean, Koyuki wasn't there as well, but like we had
Thank you.
Chanman as the host. We had Artosis and Admirable as the technical casters, and we always had a player who was there. So we had technically we had 3 casters every match, and also there was Rachel Seltzer. We talked about her last episode. She was there as well. She was doing interviews. She was doing a great job. So from my perspective, being the Hearthstone fan number one, I guess this was an amazing event. Like all the games that I wasn't playing, I was just watching them. I was amazed about the level of excitement, the level of detail, and the thrill that I was getting. Like I was watching the final RDU versus Amaz, and I was thinking, oh man, I just want to play Hearthstone right now. I want to sit there, but like even if I'm not sitting there, I want to just play like ladder, arena, whatever. Hearthstone is exciting. I was getting a lot of messages from my friends who tried Hearthstone before, but they didn't follow up. They were messaging me like, "Hey, I'm watching DreamHack. It's so exciting. Maybe I should get back to Hearthstone." So I'm sure like this was a shared feeling among a lot of people. What do you guys think about the casting at all? Like the setup of the house and the scene there.
It was perfect. Really perfect. I mean, they couldn't have done anything better than that. It was just the best casters, probably. If they had Frodan there too, it was just the complete formation.
You guys don't have to say this just because I'm on the show, but I appreciate
No,
it.
but you're really a good caster.
Don't forget Crip, right? You said Crip was not even included.
Oh my God, we forgot Crip.
Chat's going nuts because they're like, "What happened to Crip? Did he
Crip,
die?"
well met.
Nah, Crip went to go watch his friends get married and do real life stuff. So, yeah. I thought the casting was phenomenal on every level. Like, I really enjoyed the way it was set up. I kind of even said it back from Seat Story Cup that I think 3-man discussions in Hearthstone is extremely good because normally, like, if you have a 2-man setup, you kind of have to have at least a discussion of some kind. So normally you have a back and forth of like a disagreement of plays. But then there's always like this opportunity for a third person to chime in and bring up a new conversation point. And like I found that in Sea Story Cup that it's a nice rhythm that works really well compared to some other games that kind of need play-by-play call action. Versus Hearthstone is more of a strategic discussion and you know, like kind of like a question answer and give and throw, like give and take. Excuse me. So I think the dynamic is really good. I think Admirable and Artosis slayed it. Like I think they did a really, really good job. Granted, the hours and the situation that was given. I even gave my hats off because I think they handled the whole finals controversy extremely well. So not only from a game knowledge perspective, but I thought they even handled and composed themselves brilliantly in tough situations. That's pretty much just my thoughts. I think they've delivered the highest quality cast thus far out of any tournament series we've watched so far.
I definitely agree with
No
that.
salt.
Reynard bring salt to the final. I saw that when I was asked for the
You
interview
did.
after the game.
You did.
It was salt in front of me.
There was actually something else also. There was another caster we are forgetting. This small Murloc sitting in the middle all the time, casting the Murloc stuff for the Murlocs.
Do you still have the photo I made with the Murloc in the first day? Do you remember me staring down the Murloc?
Oh yeah, definitely. That photo is available. I will probably make a post on Reddit with the photo collection and some background. So for those of you guys who didn't notice the Murloc, like there was a Murloc on the stage. The Murloc is called Little Murkai, which is LME, and we introduced him last time. He's still here, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the guy. He
Oh,
will be at
Gnimsh.
the events in the future, so it was like a fun aspect. Hearthstone plush though.
Gnimsh, I think what you should do for next tournament is not bring a doll, but bring a die and then just roll it before you make a play every time. And make sure the opponent sees it.
Well,
So it's
that might
like
be a problem.
you have like six cards, or you have like six cards, or you have like five cards, and you roll like a three. You just count from the left, one, two, three, and if you have like over that, you just kind of pick a card and play it. I think that will mess with your opponents so much because then they're like, "Oh my God, Gnimsh relies on RNG more than anybody," and you're just gonna completely get them on full tilt. It'd be amazing. I
The
think that's what
problem
you
is
should
that
Imagine
do.
if you won anything. If you won a tournament like that. Imagine.
by rolling a die. The problem is
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
always getting.
imagine if Gnimsh won a tournament. Yeah.
What?
No, I'm saying that sarcastic because you did win a tournament for IEM Katowice.
No, I was like the next dream hack. If he does that and
Oh,
he wins
if he
it,
plays this out, yeah. Oh
yeah.
my God.
Or even
Yeah,
the
you should
BlizzCon.
act.
Imagine Gnimsh winning the BlizzCon and making that, making all the plays in the final based on a die.
Like tough calls with the die, or
Yeah.
like having a deck of cards. Like okay, if I get like a queen, then I make a play. That would be interesting. But I'm always getting sixes when I roll die, so it's weird.
Well, it works out for you, maybe not for other people.
You should play the lottery.
Maybe I should.
We tell him that literally every time that he plays the wrong card game. When he gets a top deck and he rolls high or something like on a Shaman Lightning Storm, we're like, Nimsh, you're playing the wrong card game, buddy. You should be playing some other games. I guess the last thing before we want to move on is, RDU, we kind of want to give you the platform to kind of speak to the community, like just kind of like as a last message on the topic. Because I know you'll be on Value Time tomorrow and you'll talk more about it. But in terms of like addressing the community, do you want to say anything about this subject, what we just talked about?
About the subject with Amaz and the final.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing to see that message because I was winning that game, but I was okay with the rematch. And of course, deleting all my friend list and that never happening again because I was really confident in my Miracle Rogue deck. Well, let me tell you a thing that the mage deck that I used in the final, I just started with it because it was the worst deck versus all of Amaz's decks, and I just wanted at least one win with it. One win was okay for me for that deck because it was just very bad versus priest, very bad versus druid, and versus hunter. If he just kept flag in the first hand, he would probably won that. So yeah, that deck is really bad versus all his free decks, and I just wanted to chip out one win at least, and I was very surprised. I won all the games. That's what
We
I
could
wanted to
actually.
say.
Can we actually have a look at the deck, Frodan? Do you think so?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we could just hop
Yeah,
straight to it.
I
We were
have the
gonna
decks
bring
on
that
my
up towards
stream.
the end.
If you want, I can give the pictures again, but I think you have them.
Yeah, we have
We
it right
have
here.
we have it. Yeah.
So I guess we'll just go straight into talking a little bit about the meta then, at least in terms of like preparing for a tournament and whatnot. So RDU, what encouraged you to play Mage in the first place for DreamHack? Because as far as the top 16, you and Daniel were the only ones to play Mage, and I think the only person from the round of 8 onwards, right?
Well, yeah, we made a real big discussion with Daniel. We made a grid, uh, I think that's how it's called, and we put there all the decks and all the matchups. And then we calculated the chances approximately of every deck winning against each other. So after that, after making a total, the best two decks were Miracle Rogue and Freeze Mage. With that two decks, you can cover the whole meta. So what I needed was a niche deck as a third deck to beat other niche decks, and that's why I chose Warrior in the first place, to defeat all the other mages and to defeat all the other rush players. But it didn't work so good, and I changed from Warrior to Shaman in the top 8 because all my three opponents were playing Druid, and I needed a third deck that does good versus Druid. But I ended up playing E-Cup, and E-Cup was the only one where I had to start with Freeze Mage, because Freeze Mage is decent versus Token Druid. So picking Shaman probably was a bad call, because if I had Warrior, I would probably win the first game versus Reynad, because I predicted he would start Rush Warrior, and if I started Control Warrior, I would probably win that. But and also in the finals versus Amaz, if I had Control Warrior versus his Rush Hunter, like 100% win. It can also beat Priest. I don't know about the Druid. It's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad matchup. But yeah, probably switching from Warrior to Shaman was bad. I had to just stick to that two decks that cover the whole meta, and Warrior as a third niche deck to just win some games like 100% versus Rushers and Mages.
And this is
Did
actually
you? Did,
pretty, this is
oh,
actually pretty amazing. Like the whole analysis and like thought process and preparation that comes into tournaments. Like a lot of people don't realize it when they're they are just playing ladder. They are trying to counter the overall meta game and just like try to pick the best deck. But when you're going to tournaments, you really have to think about everything there. And like there is a lot of strategy with deck picks. Like not even thinking about a single changes in a single deck, like which druid I should take, but overall meta game. And having the document with all the percentages and looking at that like objectively is something that I think a lot of pro players actually do. And if they don't, they should start doing it, because it gives you a lot of information
Yep.
and a lot of good information you can use to win the tournament. And you're an example that that it actually worked for you.
And also, I realized that all the people think Warrior is bad in Hearthstone right now, right? Nobody
I
played
mean,
it.
it's not
But
popular at the moment.
yeah, it's not popular in the constructed game. But if you don't take into account Miracle Rogue and like probably Druid, Warrior is like one of the best decks, because that's the only counters. But everybody playing Miracle Rogue now, Warrior is bad. But in a constructed environment where you can use Warrior like at 1-1 in a best of 3 to just counter a heavy rush deck and win like 90 or 100%, Warrior is really good. I even played like a Warrior version with Farseer and focused. That deck was just focused to win the games versus Rushers. It had no Big Game Hunter, it had no Faceless, it had no Sylvanas, it was just made to defeat and destroy all the Rush decks.
yeah, that's really intelligent.
That was its purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes sense because KitKat is always talking about how Warrior, if built correctly, can just beat anything if you have the knowledge and you're able to figure out the proper build. But I think it makes sense. Granted, your other two picks, you didn't change anything though from like the Mage and the Miracle list, right? From day 2 to day 3, you just kind of changed the class itself and some different
I
decks.
changed the list a little bit.
Oh, did you?
Uh,
What did you change?
yeah, I added the second Flame Strike to the Mage deck
Okay,
instead of an Ice Barrier.
so you didn't have Ice Barrier, or did you? Because I'm looking at
You
the
had
list right
only one,
now, and
right?
it's
I
yeah.
had two, and in the last day I had only one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
And maybe let's
And
go
this
into
list
that
is
deck.
and
this
Miracle
list is
was
wrong then, because it's only one Flame Strike listed as far as I see it.
Oh, you're right.
well, where is that
Hmm.
list from?
It's on Hearthstone.
I think it's the list from the first day. I changed it, and yeah, I emailed the changes, and they said it's okay. So yeah, well, yeah, it's not a good list.
So what? The only difference is like there is zero
Huh?
ice barrier and double flame strike,
No,
right?
no, it's one Ice Barrier. I
Oh,
don't.
okay.
Let me look at it, and I will tell you what's missing. Yeah,
And
only one Azure Drake. I had only one Azure Drake all the tournament. I don't know why people said I have two.
imagine
Maybe
that.
they feel like it's an auto include because it's really good
No,
usually.
it's not really an auto include, because you don't use Azure Drakes as much, and that's an advice I took from my friend that gave me the deck. And
Hmm.
the thing with one Azure Drake is that you don't really have to play two, because if you get two, it's pretty much a dead draw, and you don't use them to attack your opponent anyways. You just
Sure.
use them for the card draw, and they're just like a niche, and you don't really need the Azure Drake that much. Like one is perfect, two is just too much.
Imagine Radu that now everybody in the world
Oops.
plays at a wrong list.
Yeah,
Like they
probably they
think they
should
are
just.
playing
No,
the
that's really
winners
interesting
deck
too.
list, and it's different.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
interesting that you bring that up because it makes sense since turn six, you're usually trying to answer the board. Like turn five
yeah,
onward, you're usually trying to answer the board with Frost Nova, Doomsayer, or Blizzards, Flame Strikes, and stuff. And so, like, usually it's really difficult to squeeze in another Azure Drake that fits the curve and it's able to do it free on the board. Unless it's like you wipe with Doomsayer, Frost Nova, and then on turn seven or something, there's nothing, so you can drop an Azure Drake. But that's rarely the case because people are able to,
yeah,
silence the Doomsayer, kill a Doomsayer, or something like that. Or
yeah.
like,
Twice 3 takes is too
it makes
much.
sense actually. The more I think about it, that's actually pretty clever. Who gave you that advice?
The Ivan 89. It's one of my screen partners. He was number one like some days before DreamHack. He's the one that took Otter's build of Mage or whatever, of Freeze Mage, and improved it a lot. And I improved it, I think, with one card or something. Yeah, he played twice barriers. I took one out. I
Whose
was
idea was to vaporize?
his Ivan's idea.
Okay.
He just put that in to get a huge advantage in the miracle matchup. To just destroy the Leroy. You just control the whole board. Don't let him attack with anything. Play the Vaporize, and if he wants to kill you, he has to play the Leroy. But if he plays the Leroy into the Vaporize, it's just game over. But I never
Yeah.
played Mage versus Miracle, and I never played Miracle versus Miracle in the whole DreamHack, and that was sad because I added the Assassin's Blade to the usual Miracle build. Usually people run something like either Cold Light Oracle or Nomish Inventor or stuff like that, but I just thought for a tournament, Assassin's Blade is the best pick for a rogue deck. You don't need that many draw cards because you just need damage sometimes,
Can you
and
tell me
it helps.
something about Icelands? Like because during the tournament, your use of Icelands was non-standard. Let's say.
Yeah, yeah. I usually don't like to use spells on minions on monsters, but when you have to use the spells to gain board control, you just have to do it. But be careful not to use too many spells because then you can kill your opponent. So as you still think you can kill your opponent, be prepared to use the spells if needed. So you can
Okay.
just throw away some spells just to get a lot of board control. That's what this deck is about. If you don't have your AoE spells, of course you have to use Islands sometimes. You can't just keep them for the finish.
Okay. So like giving some background to the viewers, like Radu was using Icelands really defensively to
Yeah.
or to stop the minions, and instead of using it as a part of a combo to kill his
Or to
opponent, like you were mostly like freezing minions to not get damaged and to prolong your
yeah,
life.
to keep the ice block like one turn more. I think Icelands has a good use in that. But that's what differentiates the good players from the bad players of this deck. I don't consider myself a very good player of Freeze Mage. I consider, for example, that the guy that gave me Ivan 89, he's the best player I saw with Freeze Mage. If somebody knows him from ladder, he plays it perfectly. But I played decently, and that was enough to win the tournament. But
Okay.
before the finals, I lost a lot of games with that deck, mainly because I had terrible draws, but maybe of some misplays I made too. It's, I think, the hardest deck to play at the moment, and it's only good versus some matchups, like the ones that have no heal. If they have heal, it's almost impossible to win.
Oh, so that's
Yeah, I
the
think.
new meta game call. Like people should start playing healing decks, and the mage
Yeah,
will just go away.
yeah.
The
If they want to
healer
beat
didn't come
mage, they
back.
should just play warrior. Play warrior, and you win to mage, but you lose to miracle. So if you want to take that risk, okay.
Okay.
That's exactly it. Just armor up to 55 and just laugh at your opponent for having no more damage. Unless they're playing Ansonitis.
Yeah, you can just shield slam it.
All right, cool. I guess another conversation worth discussing is, I guess, druids and their place and like why they're just so good in tournaments. And I think Gnimsh, you wrote this down. So, what are we talking about this exactly?
Okay, so like I think like Druid, obviously Radu won with the Frost Mage, and kudos to you for that. Like it was an amazing play, but the MVP of DreamHack, in my opinion, was Druid. Like A cup going with a really good score of Druid, a lot of Druid mirrors, a lot of Druid versions because there is the token Druid with double combo. There was like more mid-range druids with one combo but more taunts. And there was the biggest deck in the whole tournament that Dark Onyx was running with a lot of taunts. Like his druid deck was so big that he didn't even have place and a space for Ancients of Lore. So Druid MVP of the tournament, and I think like Druid might dominate the meta game right now. It's like the token Druid I feel is a good counter to Miracle Rogue because it's so fast, and it's actually funny we call it token Druid because mostly it's just like a fast Druid build, fast tempo build with the combo. So what do you guys think? Like Radu, where do you see Druid in the current meta game?
I see we do it very good in Started, but in tournaments, I just don't want to take the risk of getting, for example, double white growth in turn 5, 6, 7, when they are just useless. But of course, Druid is very good, but I don't like it. But in Constructed, I used to play it, and in other tournaments, I used to play it too. But you just need a lot of good hand in order to win. Like, it involves more luck than other decks, I think. You need innervates, you need wild growths to appear in on time and stuff like that.
So like
Interesting
if
that
you
you
don't
point
feel,
that out.
yeah, if you don't feel lucky, don't play druid.
it might get clunky.
Wow.
It might really get clunky, but there is a lot of strong cards, and you can eliminate the wild growths. Like you can take them out and play a more streamlined version, maybe.
Yeah, but still, sometimes you just have a hand with only big cards and you don't know what to play first. Well, that's the part of the deck that's hard, but still, I don't like that concept because you playing like one card per turn is pretty bad compared to Miracle, for example, that can play like two monsters and then just all the deck of spells and draw through all of it. I think Miracle can beat Druid most of the time. I didn't lose any game to Druid throughout the tournament with Miracle, so I really think Miracle is the strong counter to Druid, but also Druid, if he gets a good start with a lot of chargers and eventually one or two combos, as we saw at the tournament, he can just win anything.
By the way, Frodan froze.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me though?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can hear you.
we can.
Okay. RD, which deck takes more luck? Because you said Druid takes luck, but Miracle Rogue, everyone knows, needs sometimes a little luck to kind of
Yeah.
go its way. Which deck needs more luck to win in the tournament setting, in your opinion?
In my
I'm
opinion, I
curious.
think every deck needs a little bit of luck to make it roll on itself. For example, Miracle, you need Auctioneer, but the the thing that differentiates the good players from the bad players is that in Miracle, you if you can play without having gadgets on in some games and still win them, then you are a good player. If you can't, you are a bad player. I think I played like 2 games and I won them. I think versus Ecop I didn't have gadgets on at the right time in neither of the games, but still he was very unlucky. He had a bad hand, probably that's why he lost. But in the last game I didn't expect the backspace rogue and I was very scared when I saw the South Sea deck hand.
Oh,
Your
yeah,
face was
your
amazing. Like
face.
your face at that moment when he actually played the deckhand. Oh my god.
Yeah,
That was
because
awesome.
I had a coin. That's a big advantage in the mirror match. I kept the Assassin's Blade. That's another big advantage. I just almost had the game won, and then I saw Saucy deckhand, and I just facepalm myself because keeping the Assassin's Blade was probably bad. And then I realized that not prepping out the Cold Blood like 2 turns or 1 turn earlier was another big misplay because you shouldn't keep the preps. I was just keeping the preps for the eventuality where I get an Auctioneer and then I just play prep something, and then just do Shadow Step and Shadow Step the Foreseer to just heal me up outside his damage. But I think that I had to use the preps to rush him down instead of waiting for Auctioneer to be able to have an opportunity to heal myself up.
I actually have a big question for you because you mentioned before, like when we were talking about decks, that you got lucky there, and you have to get lucky with the Druid. Frodo mentioned you have to get lucky with Miracle Rogue, and your comment after winning the tournament is like I got lucky. How do you feel about luck overall in Hearthstone? Like how important it is on those highest level? Like when you're playing all your games or early matches here against top players in the world, and you being a top player as well, how important luck is? How can we play around it?
Well, That's a very interesting question. I think that in the Nat Pagel and Team Master meta, luck mattered even more than now. But now, we being 16 very close in the skill gap players, I think the luck mattered a little bit too much. But still, you had to make the good plays, you had to pick the right decks, you had to win the mind games of which deck everybody starts with, and I think that mattered more than the luck, but the luck is a decisive factor in Hearthstone, and you can only play around luck by making a good strategy to approach a tournament, like I did. I think I did. Yeah.
So how
Yeah, I
much
think
percent would you give to luck? Like from the if like win getting a win is 100%, and having a good deck choice is like I don't know 30. How much percent would you give to luck overall?
Probably the same as having a good deck. You need a good deck and you need luck in order to win a tournament. And you need
And
risky
preparation
plays.
and skill also. So like how
Yeah,
much percent
preparation
would you give
skill.
overall?
Well, I think skill and preparation are the most important, but luck and deck building are the things that differentiate the good players. Probably luck differentiating good players is a bad thing, but still, I think like that. Yeah, you need luck to win, but you don't need that much luck if you have a good deck and all that stuff. They should just add more counters. Like for example, like Warrior is to Mage or to Rush decks. They should add something like that to Miracle that crushes Miracle in like 100% of games. That there is no deck like the moment, and something uh, like that for the Druids. And then it won't be about that much luck anymore. I think that, anyways, the luck right now is just for the draws. In the past, it was for like Master or Pagel or other legendaries, but now it's just for the draws, and that's a good thing. You can't eliminate that from a card game.
yeah, completely agree. I think people kind of understate posturing yourself to get lucky too. They kind of look at the top decks that Maz had. RDU, your top deck against Reynad for their Shadow Step. Like those are things that you guys set yourself up for. That the casual player who watches it's like, oh my god, he's lucky. This game doesn't take skill. But a lot of people wouldn't be able to make the decision of, well, I need to actually position myself to have two or three outs. And it happened. Reynad had that with the Hound Master as well. Even though you can kind of make cases for and against otherwise, but everyone needs to kind of allow themselves to get lucky. So just kind of answering the trolls a little bit because I know everyone just kind of blasts the RNG aspect of it. But
Yeah, for example,
not
if I
trying to go too
didn't play the Leroy Conceal versus Reynad, and I would have top deck Shadow Step, I could have still lost because I think he had damage
yeah,
because he was playing
you
Rush Warrior. I had to make that
yeah.
risky play, and I only had 4 outs out of like 15 cards remaining or something like that, and that was a little bit less than I wanted, but I had to take that chance, and I
Yeah,
got
like
it.
Yeah.
on
He
this
had Leroy in his hand.
yeah, I like on this level, all the small things matter. Like getting back to my match versus Amaz, when he top deck Leroy, obviously a great top deck, but if I wouldn't play SI7, if I would play around him getting Leroy, he would have, his only out would be kill command. So I enabled him by playing SI7. I enable him to be able to use that top deck to win the game. So like a small thing, being really deep because I will have to take into account the cards I have in my deck and cards that he has in his deck, and do everything, play all the cards and calculations during the short turn that I had. If I would take that decision there, I might have won that game. But
Yeah.
like, so
Yeah.
One less
that's
doggy,
RNG
and that
Hearthstone.
wouldn't have been exactly lethal. Cool. So I guess that wraps up pretty much, I guess, a little bit of our meta talks. Let's talk a little bit about some of the shout outs to the tournaments. Gnimsh, you wrote most of this section, so you can go ahead and take it from here.
Okay, sure. I'll just.
You want to
Did you
talk
move
about,
it?
no, you wanted to talk about like Gentleman's Cup and Millennium's Cup and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm there. Okay, so like guys, obviously every week, the tournaments are going on. We have Gentlemen's Cup League with a lot of teams taking part. So we can get let's have a quick look like how the standings look up right now. Um,
are you guys in the lead, Doggy House?
Yeah, we are still in the league. Doggy House
Um,
is still. What's
oh, you're
up?
3-3. Okay.
Yeah, we are 3-3. We lost a couple of games. We are still freelancing Strife Crow. So we're doing our best. I mean, Strife Crow went to China for 2 weeks, so he won't be able to play this week. So we had to freelance another player. We reached out to Colento, and he agreed to actually play for us. This week.
Really? Wow. That's cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Colento showing his skills and joining the Dogger House with well, at least this week. Maybe next week we'll freelance him again. Maybe we'll include him in our roster. Maybe something will happen after that as well. But for now, I'm
Wow.
really looking forward to see Colento playing with us.
Cool.
And because we are fourth and we have to be first, we have to do something special. So right now, MYM is leading with a 4-2. Team MIA, second place. Esuba, third place with a 3-3. Strong teams. And Doggerhausen 4. I mean, all of those teams are pretty strong. I mean, I really enjoy those games. I'm looking forward to the games that we will be playing this week. Doggerhouse will be playing versus VVV. So I'm really looking forward to that. What is great that I mean the games were delayed a bit because the organizers appreciated that the DreamHack is being held, and a lot of those players actually went to DreamHack, so they pushed the games forward a bit. So they are delayed, but they will happen definitely, and then we will be back on schedule with the standard league dates.
Yeah, VVV is the team from which Caldi, the guy who qualified from BOSC, just to refresh people's memory. Caldi is on VVV, as well as some really good players like Oskaka, Lateral Hero, and
Osaka, Spo.
Portex. I think we met Portex and
Yes,
Spo at DreamHack as well.
that's right.
And Wampy, yeah, because that's the only person we didn't mention. There's another tournament we also want to kind of give people heads up on is coming up in, I think, 2 weeks. Yeah, not this weekend, but the next weekend
Next week.
is a French tournament hosted by Millennium. They're well known in a lot of other games like League of Legends and StarCraft. They are going to have a numerical house cup, similar to how I think Seat Story was in a way. It's kind of hosted in a gaming house. They have a few invites of notoriety like Amaz, Kungin, and is Savish going, I think?
There's so
Or
Kangen,
Colento?
Colento, Gara, Amaz, Best Marmot are the players who are invited. The
Oops,
sixth
my bad.
invitee is still not announced, and also two people can qualify, and the one person who qualified is Bibi Armenian or Bebe Armenian, and the second person who qualified is still not yet announced. Am I
Wow,
pronouncing that
baby
right?
Armenian. Okay. Yeah, it's just like he took two clothing lines and just smashed it together. I guess it makes future sponsors easy. I don't know necessarily what is going to happen too. Like, I don't know the format exactly because I can't read French and Google Translate is not helping. But it definitely keep your eye out for this tournament because it does have some pretty well-known players as well as a mix of some of players you may have never heard of. So it'll be really fun. And I can't really see a prize pool or anything though. How is your French, Gnimsh? Can you see it?
The prize pool is at 3,000 euros for the first. I've actually gave you a link again. So the 3,000 euros for the first place, 1,500 euros for the second place, 700 for the third place, fourth place is 400, and
Okay.
100 for places from fifth to eighth, which is actually a lot, and the prize pool is significant. So I'm really looking forward to this event. I'm not sure if they will be if they are going to stream this. They probably will, right?
Yes, would hope so. They better not because the French community kind of is segregated a little bit. Like the Gamers Origin Cup, which is the one I was thinking Savich was invited to, so that was my bad. But that one was not streamed publicly, as far as I know, at least on Twitch or something. Maybe on Daily Motion or some other avenue, which
I
is
think
kind
they
of a
have
shame.
their own platform actually.
Do they? Okay. Okay.
You Frodan.
I have to fix my cam again. Okay. Do you know some of these like rather unknown players? Or do you like Best Marmota and Bebe Armenian at all?
Nope, never heard of them. Sorry. And I know a lot of players. Like, for example, when I was with the casters at DreamHack, I was commentating one game and they showed me the list of the players that will play for the other day, in the other day for the spots. And from the 8 players, I knew 7 of them. So yeah, I pretty much know a lot of players, but I never heard of the ones you stated.
Okay, okay.
Best
Well,
Marmota. Well,
I
we
heard
talked
that
about
he was
Best
a good
Marmota
French
before.
player. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was like a good French player that you said. I'll take your word for it because I don't ladder much on EU, so I don't really hit some of these players.
Well, every time I'm asking someone about who do you think the best French player is, they point out to Best Marmota. He won a big French tournament before, um, and he was constantly doing good on ESL tournaments when the game was launched. So I mean, even before, like on the beta times, starting in November and December, he was one of the top players there, and he just kept playing the game. So I don't know him personally, but I'm really looking forward to seeing him play against those superstars like Garo and Amaz and Colento. I hope Colento can make it because I know he had some visa problems.
Yeah,
Get
man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
so
reset my camera quick, Gnimsh. One sec.
yeah, okay, no problem then. So Colento had some visa problems because he's from Ukraine, and I really hope that he can figure it out and go and play there. On the other hand, I'm also looking forward to seeing Kungan play because he had a great showing on the Deck Wars finals, and I was talking to Kungan during this weekend, and he said that he's actually thinking about getting back to Hearthstone, like for real, training and then playing those tournaments, getting better. So I'm looking forward to him, well, improving and playing those tournaments and competing with us. So
Yeah, I
rather,
think Kungin he's really cool to meet in real life. He's really friendly and smiley and stuff. And he was like telling us, like, oh man, Hearthstone is so fun. It's just, I wanted to really try WoW and other MMOs because, Kungin comes from a WoW background as well, so everyone knows that. I think he always surprises people because they assume Kungin's not as good as other people, and I think a lot of players assume that as well. And then he like 3-2 Strife Crow, which is like, you know, if I 3-2 Strife Crow, I don't care how I did it. I'm writing that on my tombstone.
wait, actually,
So
Strifecrow free to Kungan.
what in Tower Jago? I thought it was the other way around. I
It
thought
backwards.
Kungin beat Strife Crow, and then Strife Crow beat Admirable, and Admirable beat Kungin, and then that was the triangle. In which case they
No,
had
no,
to
no.
like
I think it
do a
was
weird
different. It
tiebreaker.
was the last
Am I
game of
remembering?
was
Am I
like
completely brain farting?
there was the thing about this man is like Strifecrow give
Oh
it,
my god.
Strifecrow take it away. Do you remember that? It's like Strifecrow couldn't make it, but he was playing versus Kungan, and then he won against Kungan, so that the person who advanced to the final was Admirable and Tides of Time because of that. Because Strifecrow actually won. It's like Kungan won first two games, and then Strifecrow was supposed to drop from the tournament, but he continued playing and he won 3-2. So he free out Kungan with Druid, I think.
Oh wait, this is Deck Wars. Wait, I'm total. I think my brain literally forgot or like rewrote history in my mind.
I think so. And
Oh, you're right. He beat Admirable, and then he lost. Wow. Okay, I must have. That's my bad. I'm lying. Frodan
but
lying.
still, 3-2
My bad.
versus Strifecrow. I mean, 2-3 versus Strifecrow. It's still an achievement.
Yeah, that's my bad. Well, I'm stupid, so I'm not gonna say anything for 2 minutes.
Still, the tournament will be great, and I will be looking forward to the games there. Okay, should we move to the magical card, unannounced, weird card?
Is it official or just?
It's not official.
Ah, okay.
It's more fishy than official.
You're talking
I,
about
I
the
never saw
warrior
it.
weapon card or the hunter weapon card, right?
Yes. So let's move
Yeah.
forward to the hunter card.
Let me pull that up real quick.
Okay, guys. So for all those of you listening here, it's bow of the elite, and 4 cost, 4 attack, 3 durability. And the supposed card text is: at the end of your turn, if no minion was killed with bow of the elite this turn, destroy it. So like you either attack with the bow into a minion, or it gets destroyed.
When I first glanced
Interesting.
at this card, like the 4/3 just sounds way too strong, but if you kind of balance it with this, it feels way too weak, I guess, to like justify running it compared to just having like Eagle Horn bow because the durability and is always kept in check already by traps. So if you want to kind of have like a bow that does a lot of damage over turns, it just feels like you might as well just run Eagle Horn and traps. Maybe this replaces that though. I'm not sure because it's just like there's so many 5 health minions that puts it out of reach, and it's like forcing you to trade. And then you might just get like terrible value, especially if they put up like a shield, or not a shield, but like that's a bad example. Something that you can't kill, but like that's really
Senshin.
small and worthless. Yeah, like you
Senshin.
can't kill a Senjin, and then it just feels like you lose so much value and tempo because of it. So I don't know. I'm pretty mixed on this card.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad.
So
Yeah,
for
for
my
example, yeah, if you don't attack with it a minion, it dies, and that's a very bad point. We can compare it to the other weapons the hunter have. It's it's a lot of durability, not so much damage. I think it's a big cost for what it does. I think free cost would be better, and I don't know. It doesn't look so good.
So from my perspective, first, this is a common, so it's not supposed to be very good. Second, this card is like,
Oh,
It doesn't even
yes,
matter. Like there are
yeah,
cards that are commons and that they are the best. For example, I don't know, Eviscerate.
yeah, or
yeah.
like there were some common cards from Max Rama's spoil, which is actually pretty good. So like the thing about this card is like we would have to think about using it. Do we have space for a 4 mana card in Hunter? Like if we play the 3 mana bow, then there is no reason to play this. I guess for 4 mana you can deal possibly like 4 damage to minion, and then next turn maybe 4 damage to the hero, which is essentially 8 damage for 4 mana. I'm not sure if it's that good. Like is it good to have a 4 mana card that deals 4 damage and that's it? Maybe it is. Like maybe some others will use it. Like what I'm thinking is if this card is not good for constructed, maybe it will be good for the arenas. Like maybe it will be cool to have like a choice to have this bow in the common slot when you're playing as a hunter in the arenas. Like maybe hunter was needing this. Maybe like there was not enough weapons because the eagle horn bow is like the rare slot, and the big bow for 7 mana is the epic slot. So maybe that's why this card is. I mean, this card is still not announced, so it might actually not be real. But if it is real, it for me it makes sense if this is a more like an arena card.
Yep.
I think you bring up an interesting point because like the 4 mana curve is also a little expensive. If you're playing like the aggro hunter, usually your like Leroy is like the most expensive card that you have, and like it's only a 4 drop versus everything else is like hunter's already kind of jam packed at 3. So even if they've reduced this kind of weapon, even if they came out with another weapon and it was 3 mana cost, hunter's already so jam packed with Unleash the Hounds, Kill Command,
Animal
if
companion.
yeah, Animal Companion, if you run bow, if you run deadly shots, stuff like this is like already way too much. So they kind of need to spread out their curve a little bit more. 4 mana is like interesting because I guess the only thing you really run, especially even in mid range hunter, is usually like Houndmaster and maybe the Snapjaw if you're Reynad or Strife Crow or Wreckful. So like that's kind of like what you can do. I think Blizzard has some flexibility in that regards. But I don't know. Like I kind of agree with the chat and everyone else that says like this card looks more fake than anything because there's no like death rattle effect. The only resemblance is destroying the bow itself, but then there's no like cool interaction.
But it's being destroyed, so it might, it's kind of like the Fraddle. If there is a card for Hunter, when your weapon gets destroyed, this minion gets +1/+1, then this bow is still bad.
Ah, well, yeah, I guess
I
that's like an
wanted to say
interesting
that
concept.
too.
Like a death rattle buff, though. That's kind of cool.
Maybe they should just add a death rattle to this card. If this card dies, then I don't know, gain some more mana this turn. I don't know, something like that to make it better at least. Because now it's pretty bad. Nobody, I
It,
think, will play it in constructed. Maybe just in a weird control hunter deck.
I know, just change the text of the card. When this weapon is destroyed, kill a minion. Perfect.
Yeah, that's better. That's way better.
That,
Ah,
I
there you
think
go.
that
Yeah, I
might
think
Rebalanced.
think balance. Clear
I
the
think it's
board.
okay.
That sounds like insane though. If you play it in an aggressive deck, then and then you like just do 12 damage and then destroys a minion. That sounds
Uh,
super
I
powerful.
think it's too overpowered because, for example, you can just equip it on turn 8, attack phase, and then it will destroy at the end of the turn and kill, for example, a Ragnaros, and you still deal for damage. So for 4 mana you kill anything and deal for damage. Maybe
Yeah,
destroy a random minion would be better, but still too overpowered, I think.
Actually, it wouldn't be that bad if the bow actually has this disadvantage that when this bow is destroyed, you have to destroy your own minion. So that's like for 4 mana, 4 free is kind of good, and the only drawback is that you have to destroy your minion, which is kind of cool because you have a lot of different effects, so it can trigger this. And you can trigger it also while playing another weapon. So maybe
Yeah,
somebody like mistranslated it. I don't know.
random minion probably would be better to, yeah,
Yeah,
as you
obviously
said,
because
to have the chance to destroy your own minions too. So for example, if you want to kill the Ragnaros, you have to not play anything on that turn or just rely on RNG.
I mean, don't destroy any minion. Destroy your minion. Like randomly destroys your own minion
Oh,
as a drawback. As the drawback because the weapon will be very good. Like
yeah,
with
but then if you're playing a death rattle card, maybe you can even trigger it like
yeah,
Sylvanas or something, and then all of a
yeah.
exactly,
sudden, yeah.
exactly.
They can
Ah,
make
that's
it
interesting.
better, but as it is now, it's pretty bad.
Hmm. Oh, I guess. We'll see what happens. Most likely they'll release more info tomorrow. It seems like Wednesdays slash early Thursdays are when they're releasing it, and then that's the last class specific card, which means Blizzard needs to release this sometime soon, right?
Oh
Right,
yeah,
guys.
definitely. It's like we are missing Naxxramas information. We really want to have like more cards and more concrete information. Maybe some previews of the dungeons. I don't know. I'm super hyped for Naxxramas.
They
Can't
didn't
wait.
announce anything at E3. I'm so sad.
Oh
They
yeah,
should
you're
have.
right.
They had the opportunity to, but no more details on anything, whether it was release dates or even like the images from some of the raids you can get. So that's we'll see, and we'll definitely talk about it when the time comes. Okay, Matt. So we're pretty much almost done here. We have a few community questions that people asked. From I guess we can just hammer this out. This is for RDU. Joseph Edston asks, he's Kirby Man. He says, "Can you talk about why not you don't include Antonidas in a Frost Mage?" This is to RDU.
You don't need Antonidas, you already have a lot of bursts, you just need to survive until turn 9 to play Alexstrasza. So pretty much if you do Alexstrasza and have an Ice Block equipped, you just win the game. And stall the game until then, obviously. That's the deck, you don't need more burst. There are some versions with Antonidas, but they are more control based. I played a version of a friend of mine that had Frost Elementals, Water Elementals, and Antonidas, and even Gadgetsan, and that was very good too. So you can build mage in a lot of ways. It's not a dead class anymore. I think every class in the game has its use right now.
Cool. Gnimsh, do you want to comment on that at all?
Well, I mostly agree. I mean, I like Antonidas in the more aggressive kind of mage, where you want to combo as soon as possible, and you use it some kind of like a win condition. But Pyroblast is too expensive for aggro mage, and Antonidas is kind of perfect with all the cheap spells, like playing it at turn, well, even turn 8, and having mirror images, getting a fireball. But in like Frost Mage, I don't feel like you really need it, especially in the King of the Hill series when we are trading decks and you want to counter specific decks, not like all of them.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Fupa Luva asks, "Can you is Crip a national hero in Romania, and is the official drink of Romania now orange juice?"
No, like I don't think so
Okay,
many
that
people.
settles it.
I don't think so many people know Creep, but for the Hearthstone players, he's really a role model. For me, I think he is. I want to be a uh, known streamer like he is, but I don't think all the people in Romania drink orange juice. I think all the people in Romania still prefer water to anything or beer. I don't
I
know.
actually have a follow-up question. Like, is Octavian a popular name in Romania?
Nope. No, it's kind of rare though. It's one of the rarest names in Romania. Like, I think Creep is the only person with that name that
The
The
only
only
Romanian with that name.
person in
Interesting.
No,
all
that
of
I know.
Romania.
There's a site with the popularity of names. We can look that up if you
How
really
popular
want.
is
But
Radu then?
Radu is a lot more popular than Octavian. But it's one of the most common names in Romania. But still, the most common name is Andrei.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right. That's cool. Um, uh, Fat Stacks asked about your thought process on picking Frost Mage, but you already covered that.
Yeah, I told you.
And let's see. As well, there's actually a lot of questions about why you picked Mage, so it seems like that's the consensus. I got a question for myself saying, what does it mean to become a team manager? What is this job about? And I forgot that this is actually one of the topics that we wanted to
Okay.
discuss.
So now I can ask my question. Okay. Then
Forgot about this.
we
Go
totally
ahead.
forgot about this. So
Yeah.
guys, it wasn't. I'm not sure if it was really announced, but we can announce it now. So Frodan is a new team manager for Team Temple Storm.
Yeah.
So Reynald, Gara, Tides of Time, and am I missing someone?
Wreckful.
Hyped.
Wreckful
Hyped.
and Hyped. Yes, that's the team. Temple Storm. Frodan is their new team manager and was running a Temple Storm t-shirt and will be doing a lot of stuff for the guys. So Frodan, tell us about it and tell us also about what's the job of the team manager.
The job of the team manager is to basically tell Reynad that he shouldn't have said what he just said. And basically go to them and apologize for what happened and then try to make good. Um, that's kind of what Reynad kind of joked about when he first approached me. He's like, dude, I need somebody that can help me, like, make the relationship, make the connections, but also help just get Tempestorm off the ground because a lot of people don't understand that other tournament or other organizations that move into this space, like Curse, like TSM with Masan, like Liquid with the Maz, they have their structure in place, but Tempestorm is just, it's new. It's kind of an organic grassroots movement. These guys, they're just kind of, they're friends and they're teammates, but they don't have like all of the normalities, the policies, the contracts, the logistics, the finance, the accounting, like the sales, like all these things, the sponsors. They still need to kind of get set in motion. And Reynad, as you can start to see, the community has been seeing that he's been transitioning more and more away from streaming, which is not what he wants to do at all because, streaming is something that he loves doing. He wants to be a player. But because, being an owner is really, really difficult, he can't stream and focus on, building up the team and the website simultaneously. So he's brought me on to kind of help him with a lot of those administrative tasks, as well as, the important things of being able to help organize a lot of the core elements of the team. I feel like I don't think I can explain too much about like some of the small details that we're trying to do. But the most important thing is that I'm going to try to make Reynad's life easier so that way he can be streaming more consistently for his fans because I think he was just kind of like skipping a lot of days because he was too tired or just didn't have time to do it. And, he really has really big ambitions for the Hearthstone scene, and we have some really cool projects that we want to work on. So I'm pretty excited to be part of the team.
Perfect. I'm
I
excited
hope
to
that,
actually.
hope that answers your question.
Well, I don't know if that was my question. It was one of the viewers' question, but like, I'm sure you're really experienced being a team manager for the fourth day, or like fifth day right now. It's the fifth day, right? When you're on the job.
Yeah, I think officially it's been like my third or fourth day. I've been working with Temazone for a while, doing a lot of, just stuff to help them out, a lot of the paperwork, a lot of the organizational stuff. The most important thing, though, is probably establishing the website primarily. And I think this kind of answers one of your questions of like, what can we expect? I know there's a lot of things that people kind of looked at the website and said, this isn't perfect. The UI isn't the most beautiful or the premium subscription model or something is not something I like. A lot of people have their criticisms on like the layout and deck. We recognize that, and we're gonna change that. We're working on a really badass new website for sure. Like the first one was just kind of like they wanted to get it out there and really try to get it off with Lord of the Arena, but that was just like too many moving parts at once, and everything kind of came out, a little bit suboptimal. But we're really fine tuning and tweaking everything we can. And hopefully within the next a couple of weeks,
Something might happen.
Yeah, no. I think the site's going to have a completely redesigned, and we're going to definitely do more than just videos. Everyone's like, are they just going to record videos and post it and charge us? No, we're going to do more than that. We're going to try to create a very interactive experience that people can kind of have this hub that the Tempo Storm players and maybe even other players that you'll see. We're not closed off to the idea that only Tempo Storm players can write. Maybe we have some other guest writers and stuff too. So it's definitely a learning experience. I ask that everyone be patient with it. But at the same time, we also want to say that the website's been pretty successful so far, and we're really appreciative of anyone who supports the site.
I'm really looking forward to like seeing where Temple Storm actually goes. Like I'm excited also to see you working with the guys. The guys are great. They are having a lot of success, and it was fun hanging out with them at DreamHack again. So definitely looking to the future there.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions? RDU seems to have dropped off the face of the planet.
Yeah, I'm back now. Sorry,
Okay.
the
Cool.
camera went off.
I don't have any questions personally. Actually, I think we can head over to the wrapping the show up. Like shout
Okay.
out.
Yeah. So real quick before we do that, let's do some homework. The next I Heart You King of the Hill. Do we know that at all, Gnimsh?
I think definitely it will be Thais again because Thais is our current 5-time champion, which is the record as far
Really
as I
impressive.
know. This is very impressive. He defeated Strife Crow, Alish, myself, and I don't remember the other players, but like everyone we invite is not a scrub, guys. Those are good players, and he's doing really good. I think the next King of the Hill, there will be a person from Don't Kick My Robots, a robot team, and it might be a bit delayed because of DreamHack, but it will be there. So definitely check it out. And check out iHarfi as well. I mean, we have Artos's statement on the drama that we discussed today. So he actually posted a long statement about what happened and what are his thoughts about it. So check it out definitely. And any other homework stuff we have to do? Frodan?
Yeah, shout out to Chalky who won the NESL. Shout out to Twix and Isokas who's won their zone attacks. And
Your mic
Draco
is
who won the DS.
breaking, Frodan.
Hello.
Sorry guys for technical issues today. Like we have some kind of an unlucky after DreamHack hangover, I guess.
My bad. Oh my god, it's happening again.
That glasses though, they're
Yeah.
amazing.
So shout out to Shaki for winning NESL versus Dart. Dart was NESL king for 1 week, defeating Ties of Time last week. This week, Shaki actually took the throne. Also, tomorrow, there will be a Deck Wars fight versus Chucky versus Alchemist. So, Chucky, the current king of the hill for NESL, fighting versus Alchemist, who couldn't make it to DreamHack, but I guess he was testing for the whole week. Or the whole weekend, preparing for Chucky to defeat him tomorrow. So, definitely an exciting match to watch. Also, check out the Zodak and ESL tournaments this weekend. They qualify you for the qualifier for BlizzCon, so a lot of tough competition there. And basically, I guess that's it.
Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap up the show the last few minutes with some shout outs. Thank yous. RDU, go first, man. It's all you.
Shoutouts.
Yes.
Well, I have shoutouts for my screaming partners, Daniel, Ivan89, Wolf, and all the people that supported me. And I really have a big shoutout to all the people that know the truth that I didn't cheat in this finals to win, and that support me and watch my stream and follow me and stuff like that. So thank you all for the support shown.
You should give a huge thank you to Artosis too, man. He went to bat
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you
yeah.
so many times publicly.
Yeah, so
Man.
also to Artosis and Amas, I really have to thank them because they protected me and they kept the trash talkers a little bit. They told the
check.
trash talkers to stop. Yeah, I really have to thank them so much. To Artosis and Amas, they helped me a lot with gaining my reputation back after that incident.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Those guys were really class. Gnimsh,
Yeah.
where do you have?
So my shout out goes to all the friends who I've met at DreamHack, old and new. I had a lot of fun, so thank you guys. It's great. Shout out to all the organizers for a great tournament. As mentioned before, some bumps in the road, but it doesn't matter. The tournament was great. We'll improve in the future and make it even better. So shout out to Doggy House. Shout out to ACOP for a great druid deck that I actually was able to use and get to top 8 thanks to the deck. Really my style aggro deck. And shout out to Zach, our producer here, who's like showing you guys all the awesome stuff on screen that I can't see right now, but I will see on the VOD. And yeah, that's basically it on my side. Frodan.
Shout out to the best team in Hearthstone, Tempo Storm. Not biased.
Shots fired.
And also, actually, really a big thank you to my former team. I used to be part of Curse, and I think that was kind of unofficial. I was somewhat on a trial period, but this opportunity came by, and I parted ways with Curse very amicably, and they've been nothing but really classy. And I really miss those guys. Like, I spent a lot of the weekend with them: Sevish, Dark Wanix, Kit Kats, and even Alchemix, who wasn't even there. But I'm really happy with my new family now. I'm really looking forward to what TempoStorm is doing. So make sure to check out our site at tempostorm.com or follow us on Twitter at tempo_storm. And of course, if you guys like what I do, just follow me on Twitter as well. But thank you to everyone who's been really supportive throughout this journey. And hopefully, I will be able to get more opportunities to interact with you guys.
Also, Frodan, I forgot to make a huge shout out to Trump for also protecting me and helping me.
Right.
Yeah.
Shout out to Trump overall, because during the event, like the Via Game.com site didn't have the chat, and Trump actually went forward, gathered people on his own personal chat, and he was talking about the tournament. So big shout out to him for helping to keep the community to create a place for the community to actually discuss the games.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a really great community. It seems like the pros are really sticking out for each other, which is really nice, instead of just piling on the drama. Overall, I'm really happy with how things went for DreamHack, controversy aside, just because we got apparently really good numbers, right? It contributed to like record-breaking stats. I'm waiting for Via Game and DreamHack to release those numbers, but the scene is continuing going, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we're done, right? Unless you want to say anything else, Gnimsh?
No, I just wanted to say that we will be here next week. So if you guys enjoyed the episode, look out for us like next Wednesday. And I guess that's it on our side. So see you guys next week.